Hey, what's going on, everybody? I wanted to talk to you today about uh, a woman's expectations. All right. Okay. So I want you to think of, like a key circle, and I want you to think of two keys that hang. And the two keys, we're going to talk about these two keys. There's others, but we're going to talk about the two keys that hang. And the two keys that hang from a woman's keychain of life is standards and expectations. All right. So when a woman starts off in the world, okay, as a baby, and she's growing, she is starting from her ground level. Now, the unique thing about a woman is inside, intrinsically, her value's there. She's already there. She's got all of her eggs. She's got all of the things that's going to make her beautiful. She's going to have all of the things to make her attractive, so on and so forth. What what the outcome will be predicated on is how well she preserves those things, and how exclusive is going to be a part of how she reserves those things. When she is a child, unfortunately, sexual predators, if they are around her, will gawk over her and tell her she's beautiful, this, that, and the other. But because she's so young and so impressionable, like children are, she's gonna end up she's gonna end up following that because it makes her feel good. And then unfortunately, that's how sexual assault, molestation, and things of that nature happen. When she has a father in her life, whether the mama likes the father or not, if the father is doing his job for his daughter, he's going to keep her covered. And so he's going to keep those people who are trying to arouse her impressionableness nature, if you will. He's going to keep those people from away from her, excuse me. So she stays relatively grounded. As she gets older and she moves into her teenage years, and I'm giving you the cold reality. As she moves up and she gets into her teenage years, she gets taller, um, and in some cases, she starts to have early development. She has development with her body and her body parts, and now she doesn't realize it yet, but there are more men that are coming around, because there are some sexual predators. They're not going to mess with a child that's 10 and under. There's some predators that will, and then there's some predators that won't. Some predators will start to get that itch for a teenager, okay? Especially when a teenager is 15, 16, 17 years old. And they justify it in their head for whatever stupid reasons. But now this attention is coming upon this teenage girl, okay? And the downside to that is she's impressionable, and women by nature love attention. And so if that father is there to cover and protect that girl, then he won't allow this to happen either. He'll be in her head. He'll be talking to her. He'll be telling her what to look out for. He will also show by example and give love to this little girl or this teenager. He will give love to this girl in an appropriate way and show her without sexual attention or sexual intention. He will show her how to be loved, and that girl 9 times out of 10, she's going to feel like when she needs love and attention, she has it. And so that's the key role of a father. So it's unfortunate when a father's not able to be in his daughter's life or his daughter's life. Plural, excuse me, plural. His daughter's life. All right. So now this girl is, now she's 18. So now she's grown. She's 9 times out of 10, she's fully developed, okay? Or developed enough. and now she's of legal age. So it's not a crime to for a man to be interested in her sexually. But if she had a father and she had a covering by her father, then she will have traits and habits of doing things a certain type of way, opposite of these modern women out here in the world who they crave the attention. They're out here whoring, they're out here prostituting. And a lot of girls today, they prostitute and they don't call it prostitution. But if you are transactional with your looks and your body to gain what you want to get, I mean, you're practicing the oldest profession in the history of the world, which is prostitution. It's just what it is. So once that woman becomes sexually active, the experience, remember I talked about the two keys. I talked about standards and expectations. So now when she has, let's just say, for the most part, she has encounters with a man, and for the most part, for that period, it's he's exhibiting some good qualities. Maybe he's making her feel good in the bed. Maybe he is pampering and showering her with gifts. It's something that makes her keep wanting to stick around this guy, that makes it last 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, or however long she's with this guy. If he's not necessarily beating on her or causing some type of violence towards her mentally, emotionally, in an upfront way, and she enjoys aspects about him, she's going to be with him. Now, what will end up happening is she's going to continue to develop. And when she continues to develop, the next thing is going to be she's going to be getting other attention from other people. Now, this is where women love opportunistically. So if she's with a great guy, okay, she may not see his shortcomings in certain areas because every guy has shortcomings. But she's not going to see his shortcomings in every area. But when the new guys come around, if she wasn't vetted correctly, now remember, I said earlier, if she had a father and she had appropriate covering, then she's going to have this lock-in stick-to-itiveness more often than not. And because she didn't experience sexual intercourse with a man, she's going to have all of her pair bonding ability to be able to find a man and latch onto him. But if she didn't have that, then the door is open for opportunities. Because let's dial it back. If she's a teenager and she's used to getting attention from guys, and she receives and accepts that attention from guys, this guy will come over, and even if he's a jerk, he's going to show her something that she likes, that drew her in, and then she's going to be done with him, right? Then the next guy is going to show something that maybe the other guy didn't have, and then that's something else that she discovers she likes. And then they break up, and then she gets with the next guy. Whether it's relationships or just encounters, she gets with these guys because there's attributes about these guys that she likes, whether it's the way they look, the way they smell, the way they take care of themselves, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they have sex, the way they do this, the way they do that. All these things she's going to notice that she likes about him, and she's going to key in and she's going to lock on to that. But then she's going to realize in a relationship that she just previously had, she's going to have that to compare to. And so the standard and the expectation is going to go up. And this could be a bad guy or this could be a good guy. It doesn't matter. But she's going to be able to take the good from the guys, but she's going to begrudgingly, when the relationship ends, most likely hold on to the bad. She's going to keep climbing, and expectations and standards are going to keep climbing. And then they climb so high that each time that she keeps experiencing things, It's going to raise her expectations and it's going to raise her standards. And on the front end, it sounds good, but on the back end, it is the reason that her options are smaller. And she can be gorgeous, she can be beautiful, she can just be super scintillating, attractive. But because she keeps raising her standards and her expectations through experiences, it decreases the chances of her being happy. She's going to be less likely to be happy. What makes a woman, now let me pause right there. So what makes a woman really, really happy? Well, you can tell what at the core makes a woman happy because you can look at these women that have chosen their careers and now in their 40s. Go look at, there's a video about, I know you guys remember BET. If you guys remember a woman named Julissa, and then there was another girl she's doing an interview with. Her name is Roxy. Roxy and Julissa. And if you listen to the interview, they both in an underlying tone show what they're regretting. And what they really are regretting, it's easier to confess that they regret having children. But if you pay attention, the underlying tone is they regret having a family. And they are Latinos. And Latinos are very, very strong about family. And so, them being in their 40s, it's starting to become apparent that, oh my gosh, I missed my window trying to sacrifice for a career that I thought would satisfy me and maintaining my looks and my beauty that would satisfy me. And nobody's saying that a woman can't maintain her looks and her beauty after she has children. She's just got to be accountable and work on and continue to work on herself, because there are women. I'll give you an example. Not a good example as a character, but I want you guys to look at Nicole Murphy, Eddie Murphy's ex-wife. She had, I believe, 5 children, but this aspect about her, she kept working on herself and she maintained her beauty. She maintained her appearance. So now, if a woman is going to have children and she's just going to let herself go, she's going to put on 20 to 50 pounds every time she gets pregnant. And if she doesn't work that pregnancy off, the next time she gets pregnant, she's going to put on another 20 to 50 pounds. And this is how women get obese a lot of times. But a woman that works on herself every day, little by little, these cumulative effects don't happen to them. They just don't. All right. So going back to women and those 2 keys that keep raising through experience. It's a problem when a woman keeps raising her expectations through experience, because she's going to when you start to move into rarefied air, there are less people up there. And because women are hypergamous, they want something that is of equal or greater than them. They are looking for something. They're looking for a man that's smarter than them, stronger than them, taller than them, and every other attribute. They want a man to be superior. Where feminism comes in is feminism tell you can have superior equality. And what that means in femininity, and I know it makes no sense, but I'm going to try to explain that. Superior equality means you want to get superior from a mate, but you want the outcomes to be equal for you. You want the decisions to be equal for you. You want there to be a partnership. And the more superior that a man is, the more he's going to have an expectation, and the more he's going to want from his wife or out of relationships. So again, this is why experiences hurt women. So when a woman is uncovered at an early age, her being impressionable and her liking attention works against her, because she's going to award people for attention. Whereas when a little girl is coming up, she doesn't need to award anybody of anything, no matter what. And when she has the correct tutelage, and that covering is going to help her be a filter for her feelings through logic, then she can key in on the right things so that, best case scenario, when she does elect her king, she knows the types of questions to ask and the types of things that she needs to be doing and not doing to be able to secure not a perfect man, but a work withable man, if you will. That's going to be a word for today, work withable. And then no matter what comes or goes, she will have a hard time leaving that man because all of her pair bonding ability is in her. Every time a woman has intercourse with a man, she pair bonds with him. Whether he is a good guy, a bad guy, or in between, she pair bonds with him. Once that relationship is over, she can no longer get that pair bonding that she had with him back. Whatever is left in the tank of pair bonding is left in the tank. Remember, I told you, a woman's value is intrinsic. She can't go out into the world and gain value. She can only lose the value that she has. And one of the things, even if she's operating perfectly, that's going to make her lose some value is her biological clock. She can only do that for a certain period of time. At about 34, 35, a woman becomes a geriatric pregnancy. That just simply means it becomes a higher risk for her to carry and bring to full term a child. Doesn't mean it applies to every woman the same, but that's about the average age range where pregnancy can start to become really complicated. No, it's not a good idea when a woman wants to have children to jump right into having children, because bringing a child into the world without the father involved is bringing a bastard into the world. And when you bring a bastard into the world, the chances of that bastard being able to beat the odds and the statistics against him or her are much more challenging than if the father is in the picture. In fact, it would probably be a better idea for the woman, if it doesn't work with the father and she gets pregnant, to give the child to the father, because statistically that child's outcome will be just as good as a two-parent household. And why is that? It's because women by nature don't raise kids, they bring them up, and they bring them through with what's called nurturing. Fathers are the ones that are raising children. Okay, nurturing is like supportive and cheerleading, but if you have a dinner, you've got your main dish and then you've got your appetizers. Can you eat appetizers and be done with food? Yes, but you really are going to get full when you eat the entree. And so appetizers are made to wet your palate a little bit so that you can eat your dinner. It's not too much, it's not too little, but it'll quench you a little bit. You know, they bring bread to the table. They might bring cheese to the table. Or they might bring something to the table to kind of just keep you steady. And that's what happens when when women are raising children, is they are basically giving them the nutrients of something equivalent to an appetizer. And yes, they're doing their best, but they're dousing their children with appetizer type work. When a father is involved, the father is giving the child the meat and helping the child process spitting out the bone. Okay? When a woman is giving birth to a child and she is nurturing the child in the early years, the child can't eat meat, right? The child needs to have milk. And what better milk than the breast milk from that child's mother? And so, but there comes a season when the breast milk's not enough anymore. And now it's time to eat the meat and spit out the bone. And only a father can give a child that, because that's what a father is equipped and designed to do. It was the realization of Angela Bassett in Boys in the Hood to come to the conclusion that she could no longer raise her son, and he needed his father. So she sent him to his father. That's the best thing that you can do. The first 9 years of a child's life, the mother will be most important to that child. The next 9 years of that child's life, the father will be the most important to that child. So a father with the mother raising their children, the father is expected to go out there and not only provide and to protect, but establish systems so that when that child gets to the age where that child needs him more, he needs him more, that he can have some systems in place, like some residual incomes and things of that nature, where he can step away from the working side of things, and he can still provide for his family, but he can be there more for his sons or his daughters, because they're going to need that structure to help them get off to the best start in life. They're going to need that structure to get out there and make the best choices in life. And I know we're talking about girls, but just to talk about boys briefly, boys need that structure because they need to be able to understand that when they get out there and get on their own, they don't have any value, and they have to build their value, and they need to focus on building their value. Once they focus on building their value, the choices come to the boys, and then the boys get to make the choice what they want to be. And the father being in the boy's life is going to help him with understanding what choices he needs to make so he doesn't get in his feelings and make the wrong choice. A girl, she's going to have the covering of her father and the structuring thereof of what a man is expecting and what man deserves what he is expecting. And when she does that, and when she sees somebody that she likes, she's going to have a good enough relationship with her father that it's going to run its course through the father. And the father's going to help pick, because a father doesn't want his daughter to not be married. A father just wants his daughter to be married to someone that's going to take just as good care of her as he did, or better. And going back to the olden days where there was a dowry, a man had to give the father a dowry, or he had to make an impression upon the father to show himself worthy to have his daughter. You understand? So back to the expectations and the standards, each experience in this world, whether they're good or bad, will raise the bar for a woman. And I told you earlier, in theory, on the front end, it sounds good. Oh, nothing wrong with a woman having high standards. Nothing wrong with a woman having high expectations. Yes and no. Yes, a woman should have high expectations and standards, but they should come through the way she was reared with her present father. See, when a woman has sexual encounters, she loses that pair bonding ability. So if she does come across a man who is suitable and a workable, work withable, as I said before, partner, not partner, but a husband, she's going to, because she doesn't have the pair bonding ability, she's going to run away from that situation. And it could be something like him making a mistake cheating. It could be him making a mistake lying. It could be all of those things. And some of you are saying, well, I don't want to be with a cheater and I don't want to be with a liar. But let's look at the history of marriage and why women withstood the test of times. I said it before, if you've never heard me say it. Marriage is front end loaded for the children. It's back end loaded for the spouses. Marriage is a retirement account. With the way that a first world country society provides the choices for women, it sure makes women feel like in their 20s, in their 30s, and sometimes in their 40s that they don't need men. But what it doesn't tell you and what it doesn't provide is it doesn't provide the truth about the need in your latter years. So everybody has, let me step back a little bit. So everybody has to go out there and take care of themselves, okay? So we go to school, we learn a trade, we get good at it, we start making good money, this, that, and the other. And the difference between a person who puts money into a retirement account and a person who doesn't put money in their retirement account is this. When the person who puts money into retirement is ready to retire, they have the ability to retire because of what they put away and what they invested. The person who doesn't put money away for retirement doesn't have at least a 401k, an IRA, assets under management, or whatever it is, properties or whatever the case may be. That person, when they want to retire, cannot retire. They can't afford it. See, they are living on the pretense that the government's going to pay for their retirement through Social Security. But Social Security is going to go bankrupt by 2032. It is 2024 as I'm making this video now. And so that's less than 8 years away, because we're going into 2025 next month. Boom, I just gave you the setting for this video. So now when a person is at the age of retirement, here's the thing about retirement. You don't always get to dictate when you're going to retire. Sometimes retirement will dictate when you have to retire. If you develop something chronic, or you hurt your back, or you get in a car accident, or whatever the case may be, and you still want to work and it's still working years, but you can't work, what are you going to do? You cannot work. You cannot work. And I've seen firsthand Social Security disability taking forever and a day to kick in. And what they give you is a lot of times a little lump sum, and then they don't give you anything else. So you're waiting for a small lottery ticket win. And then if you don't have the discipline, you're going to just take that money and go and enjoy it too. And the reality of the situation is, every 20 years, according to last check, well, let me state my source. I think it's Politico. But every 20 years, the cost of living doubles. And I bet you if I checked right now, that period would have been shortened because of how bad the economy is, because of how much prowess the US dollar is losing. So, and we're in the space now where it's $2,000 to $3,000 just to pay for rent. Not a mortgage, but $2,000 to $3,000 to pay rent. So if it's $2,000 now, and we're going by that 20-year thing, then it's going to be $4,000 20 years from now. So your retirement is already under stress if you do have a retirement. And during those during those years of marriage, when you're with someone, and let's just say you're a woman and you're out there and you're working or you're making money, what better way to make money? Because if I'm a single person, okay, and I've got a 2-bedroom apartment, and I'm paying $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent area. My question to you is, if I have a spouse who also can contribute, do you think it would be less stressful to pay the $2,000 a month as well as the other bills? Absolutely. But our modernized women feel like they should go out there and work, but they shouldn't contribute anything. And where do they do that? Here in the Western world. But see, the thing about it is, if you were working together, whether she's working outside of the home or she's making things easier inside of the home for him to just focus on what is needing to be taken care of outside of the home, whatever you're doing, if you're working together, you're going to be able to save more money. You're going to be able to invest more money. There's going to be opportunities to do more things. Listen, if a man is on his own and he's not a cooker, he's got to go out there and he's got to eat out. That costs money. If he doesn't have time to cook because he's working so hard, then he has to come home and he has to cook. So there is a currency also called time. And so a marriage can save money and it can save time. Even when you have children, it's estimated that a stay-at-home wife doing her due diligence in her part is about, it accompanies for about $78,000. I forget where I got that statistic, but go look it up. $78,000. Think about it. If she's home with the children, you don't have to pay for childcare, right? If you want to homeschool the children will get a better education, right? She can make sure that the children are getting to doctor's appointments. She can make sure that children are getting towards events, whether it's sports, whether it's in the arts, or whatever it is. She can help with that. That father doesn't have that pressure on him to do that. He can focus on bringing in what's needed for the family. And yes, the father should be at as many of those events as he can to help support the children. But the early years of that child's life, this is why I say the mother is much more important, because the child is less of self-sufficiency and they need more of mom. When that child becomes more self-sufficient, then that mom is there to be there for the support, but the child doesn't need as much support. Mommy gets to get a little bit of break then, and then dad, he's there to help structure the self-sufficiency that the child has, whether it's a boy or a girl. All right. Now, going back to the good thing, retirement for a person is critical because they don't know when they're going to have to retire. They don't know how long they're going to have to work, and they don't know what kind of support they're going to need for the conditions that they're in. And teamwork makes the dream work. Team stands for together, everyone achieves more. Now, I don't believe that a real man is looking for a partnership, but a real man is looking for a spouse, someone to be his company and someone to be his helpmate. And what is a helpmate? That's work too, but that is work submitted under an authority. When you ladies go out there to your jobs and your careers and your fields or whatever the case may be, you are being a helpmate to the business. It's just that ain't nothing in it for you except a paycheck. But when you're bringing that same helpmate mentality to a marriage, you get the front end benefits of it because magnification, if you're magnifying a man, he's going to accentuate you. He's going to enhance you. That's what a man's going to want to do. When you create an environment for a man of loyalty, when you create an environment of a man of cooperation, fitness, femininity, fertility, and that loyalty, as I said before, then that man is going to want to bring the sun, moon, and the stars to you. You don't have to ask for it. But if you don't have the pair bonding ability, when you go through bad times or whatever the case may be, that's going to make you want to leave. But when you are bonded to someone, you go through the struggles with them. I didn't say the struggles have to be grave, but if they are grave, you're going to stick it out with them because you know their good outcomes is your good outcomes. You know that helping your husband win is helping you win. When you don't have that pair bonding ability, you're thinking about how you can win. And you're okay dragging along the coattail of a man when things are going good because you're reaping benefits. And that's why you would rather do bad by yourself, because if I'm going to be working, I ain't going to work to help him. I'm going to be working to help myself. That's a cold feminist way to look at it. And like I said, men are supposed to create something to give to a woman to cultivate. And I like to use the example of having children. A man can't birth his seed unless it goes through the process of birthing. And the process of birthing, women are critical for that. You give a woman something and she makes something of it. You give a woman semen and she makes a child with that. Unbeknownst to her, it's happening inside of her because that's what her design is. So it's the same thing here. A woman is supposed to be able to see the things that a man can't see while he's focused on his vision. When a man is alone, he has to focus on his vision, but he also has to be so mindful of the details. But when a woman proves that she's got a man's back, then a man can stop focusing so much on the details and he can focus on the big picture. I never forget, there was this girl that was at our church when I was young. She ran in the Olympics when I was young. So when she came back, she was telling her story. She said her dad would say, "Go get that Nike contract, baby." But her mom was the one taking her to practice. Her mom was the one that was making sure that she had the things that she needed. Her mom was the one that was going through everything to develop. And that's what the role of a man and a woman is. A man, excuse me, a man lays out the vision, and the woman, she plays her roles in the details of making that vision come into fruition. She's helping to cultivate that into fruition. So a man ain't got to do nothing but give order or whatever the case may be. No, a man's got to earn he's got to go out there and he's got to earn and create something to bring to that woman. But that woman helpmate role is to help assist in the areas that need assisting, because the husband's got his hands full with the whole weight of the whole program. It might not look like a lot, but that man is really going out there, and a real man is going out there and he's creating something. That's why the 20s are the best idea for a woman to find her best mate and get married. When a woman keeps going up the experience train, and what I'm talking about is these sexual encounters with men for one night, a situationship, or relationships that last 2, 3, and 4 years. She's gaining experience. She's losing, in the process of gaining experience that way, she's losing her ability to pair bond, even so much so that when a woman has sexual intercourse with 5 people, she loses 80% of her ability to pair bond. 80% is a huge chunk. If you had $10 million and a market crisis happened and you lost 80% of your $10 million, how happy would you be to look up and have $2 million when you knew you had 10? It would be a crisis. Well, that's the same thing with the pair bonding ability, 5. So you say, well, a lot of women out here have had more than 5 sexual partners. How should I proceed with them? Well, as a man, you're supposed to work on yourself so you have the options to choose, and then you choose the best option. But if you decide that you're going to choose a woman that has kids, you're going to choose a woman that have a high body count, well, you have to take what comes with that, and you have to put certain protections in place. So with somebody like that, you need to make a deal. If that's the only option that you have, I don't care how cute she is. She's got 2, 3, 4 kids, and you want to be with her. You know it's going to be some disadvantages for you as a man. If you're going to be with her, I'm not saying you can't be with her, but you better make a heck of a deal with her so that if it doesn't turn out well, she doesn't take you to the cleaners. Because her lack of being able to pair bond, she's looking for you to make one mistake when she gets tired of you after the honeymoon phase. And then that's going to be it. This is why a woman who will have a good husband, look, you got a good husband. Let's say you got pair bonding issues. You got a good husband. He provides, he protects, he even gives you nourishment and nurturing as a part of what his deal is. So he's doing all of that. Let's just say he's romantic. Let's say he helps around the house or whatever the case may be. And the honeymoon phase is over. Well, let's just say you stop giving what you're supposed to give. And let's just say, honestly, he decides, okay, she's not giving me the loving and the attention that she used to. She's making excuses. I go out there and I work really hard. I bring home the bacon. I even fry it up sometimes. I'm here for her. I'm there for her. I'm everywhere for her. I deserve a little bit better. And he makes the judgment to go out there and sleep with another woman or have a relationship with another woman. And you find out. Today it's like, aha, I knew you were a dog. Now I'm divorcing you. Not thinking prior to that, she knew she had a good husband. She knew she had good support. She knew that she was taken care of and she was covered. But this man went out there and he had sex with a woman. And I'm not excusing him for having sex with another woman, but men by nature love variety. Women by nature love inequality. So men like quantity and women love quality. So that's why the man, when he gets married, he's really sacrificing a lot to be married, because a man doesn't need to be married. Marriage is really for the covering of a wife. And if that man's not going to get the help, the companionship and the help from her that he's supposed to get in ordination, remember, uh, companionship and helpmate is the 1-2 punch that a woman must bring in a marriage. And then she stops giving that, or whatever the case may be. What is that man supposed to sit there and do? Sit there in despair? Sit there in his hopelessness? That man has worked hard to have the options that he has. And guess what? If the one that he's rocking with isn't working, it's going to be in his nature to exercise whatever options he has available. So if that man is handsome, if that man is got something going for himself, other women are going to see that. And other women don't really care if that man is available or not. If she can have a piece of the pie, she would rather have a piece of somebody else's pie than to have her whole, than to try to have her whole pie, because she ain't even really trying to do it. So those feminists are good for that. And then you decided, because you didn't want to forgive your man for going out there, you decided because you didn't want to take accountability for your part that you played in a man going out there. Don't give me that, he should never cheat on me. No, you should make sure that you never stop being a companion and never stop being a helpmate. Then you got your case. Because a man will use discipline to hold off and stave off that temptation if he's getting what he needs from home without asking for it. A lot of times men have to ask for it. But a woman that doesn't have pair bonding issues, 9 times out of 10, isn't going to give that man those types of problems, because she's cleaving to him. So she wants it to work, and she knows if she wants it to work, she has to do her part. When she doesn't have the pair bonding issues, she looks for excuses to not do what it is that she is supposed to do. I don't feel like it. My head hurt. There's a book out many years ago called Sex and a Sandwich. That's what men want, sex and a sandwich. It doesn't mean that all you have to do is make a man sandwich and give him sex, but what it means is feed him and sex him. Today we call it, make sure when he leaves the house, make sure he leaves with his balls empty and his stomach full. He can concentrate better. Go to the grocery store hungry if you want to. You're going to end up buying a whole bunch of things that you had no intentions of buying because you're more impulsive. You keep your impulses in check by making sure they're covered. But I keep drifting off, and I want to stay on the subject, and I'm going to stay on this to drive it home because it's already been enough time. The keychain, expectations and standards. Raising them is totally fine for a woman to have standards, but her standards need to come from her rearing, not from her sexual experiences. The sexual experience is going to push up her expectations to the stratosphere where there's little to no options, and sometimes no options. The Lisa Rays of this world, the Taraji P. Hensons of this world, they are indeed successful, and they are indeed experienced, and because of that, their expectations and their standards are so, including Vivica Fox, are so high in the stratosphere, they can't come down because they've achieved success, and they can't lower their standards because they're way up here and their expectations are way up here, that the type of man that could reach that status doesn't want them in the first place. Lisa Ray says a man needs to, a man doesn't need to spring to take her on a vacation for a weekend when she vacations for a month. Okay, how many men can do that? There are men out there that can do that. But a man that can do that, he has a whole lot of choices. And if he has a whole lot of choices, he's not going to choose Lisa Ray because Lisa Ray is almost 60 years old. Granted, Lisa Ray is still put together. But Lisa Ray at 60, 57, 58, or whatever she is right now, she can't compete with the Lisa Ray half her age, half of her experiences. So that man that can do that for them, unfortunately, knows he has options because options keep coming to him. Do you think that a man that drives around in a foreign car is not getting attention from all types of women? Do you think a man that walks around in his power suits isn't getting attention from all types of women? Because it's like, wait, why you dress so well? Why your suit feels so good? Do you think a man who is in marvelous shape is walking around not getting attention from women? See, all of these things are attractive to women. And women need to see some type of prestige, unfortunately, but reality. A woman needs to see symbols of success or symbols of prestige and achievement before they even open themselves up to allow you to get to know them. You can go over to a woman and you can say, "Hey, how are you? My name is Lee." And don't say anything else, and she will, if she doesn't see symbols of prestige, success, and things of that nature, she will not only dish you, she will try to make an example publicly of you if she is on that type of bullcrap. And unfortunately, some men can't take that. Real men know you fail to success. But a lot of men, they are very sensitive to failure. It is that something that they should work on. But that doesn't mean that women have the right to let a man down roughly. If you're not interested in a man, you can smile and you can just say, "I am not interested," no, or whatever the case may be. But also, women, you need to stand on business, because if you tell a man without the right information that you're not interested in him because you're judging him based off of what you see, and then that man in his t-shirt and his sweatpants goes and gets back into his foreign car, don't run over there and try to talk to him and say, "Okay, okay, okay, I'm interested in you now." No, no, no. Stand on business. And then the next time you see him, just say to yourself, "I shouldn't have judged." All it takes, women, is just a conversation. If a man comes over and say, "Hello, my name is Lee. I wanted to come over because I thought you were very beautiful, and I just wanted to know if you had a few minutes to talk so I could get to know you a little bit." If she doesn't have that time, he might say, "Okay, all right, I understand you got to get going," or whatever the case may be, "but maybe I can have your phone number, and then perhaps we can talk and we can get to know each other." Ladies, you got to at least give a man, nobody's telling you to waste all of your time, but you got to at least have a period of seeing what that man has to say and what that man is about before you make a judgment. Because you could be, because unfortunately, a lot of women have walked past the man for them because it didn't look a certain way. He just might have had a day where he wasn't looking a certain way. This man might be a power suit wearer for the career that he has, and he was happy to run to the grocery store with his t-shirt and his sweatpants on. He may have just finished coming from the gym. He may be on his way to the gym. Why does he need to be in a suit? Or why does he need to have gold in his mouth? Or why does he need to have drip with diamonds and gold or platinum or whatever the case? But why does he need to be dripped in that for you to give him a chance? See, that's why women don't pick men good, because they're in their feelings. If a man comes to you respectfully, be respectful. So now you got these women up here in their standards that are so high, their keys to what it takes to be with them is so high, nobody, and I repeat, nobody can reach them. So that's what sex does to a woman. It raises her standards, and that's what her career does. It raises her standard. And they're both wrong to raise your standard. Your standard should be raised by how you were raised. Because your father, your covering that's raising you, will raise you to a standard of reasonability. Then once you're at a reasonable level, then you are still in a pool of choices. And then you can identify Even though if a man, even though if a man isn't through the stratosphere up here, you can see which one you can work with. Because a real wife knows there's going to be work. The modern feminist is saying you shouldn't have to do anything and you can have it all. So even if a woman is making a whole lot of money in her career, whatever the case may be, she don't want to do that if a man can replace her income. She wants to be able to have a life of leisure. Where did that come from? It came from the experiences with with men, and it came with the experiences in her career selection. Because once she starts doing things for herself, sounds pretty good. But then she's gonna expect a man to be able to do that. So what if a woman goes out there and she makes $500,000? She makes $1,000,000. Her standards are gonna be raised, and because her standards are gonna be raised, that's fine. But when she runs across a man who meets those standards, she hadn't spent any time or has any clue what that man is expecting and what that man wants. And unfortunately, the older she gets, the less she's going to be in play. Because why do you think women go out there and get butt enhancements, breast enhancements, and do face augmentations and things of that nature? Because they know how important youth is to their beauty. And so what they're trying to do is they're just trying to stay youthful. Because the reality is they know that men are looking for youth. And men are looking for beauty. And beauty and youth goes hand in hand. When you see an older woman that looks beautiful, it's because she looks youthful. And she either worked hard naturally or she worked hard unnaturally to make her look that way. Women typically don't accept herself getting crow's feet or wrinkles right here, wrinkles here. She doesn't accept her boobs being saggy. There are some women that are trying to embrace that. I know Halle Berry is trying to embrace that. But you can tell over the years, it was important because Halle Berry tried her very best to maintain her beauty. But now Halle Berry is starting to get vexed from trying to maintain that, and she's starting to try to promote accepting a woman aging. And I think it's fine when a woman's aging. It's totally fine. It's not fine for the dating market, but if a woman finds her husband, it's totally okay for her to naturally age. Yes, she should try to take care of herself naturally, but not to the point where it's so overwhelming that she's doing ridiculous amounts of things to stave off aging. That's not, because I think it's cool. Um, I think Felicia Rashad aged beautifully. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Felicia Rashad went and got all this these fillers and Botox and this, that, and the other trying to make herself look good. She just allowed herself to age gracefully. And I'm not talking about a relationship status, but I'm just talking about I'm talking about her in relevance to just allowing herself to age gracefully. See, and men don't have a problem with that. Look, I'm 43 years old. You know, I got gray hairs. Gray hairs make you look old. I got them all over my head. I got them in my beard. And there are men out there, unfortunately, and I don't agree with it. They're out there and they're out there dyeing their grays and trying to look young and this, that, and the other. And it's just like, okay, that's cool. It's fine. I'm not interested in doing that. I mean, if I decided to do it, okay. If I decided to do it for a occasion, okay. I'm not saying that I would never do it, but I'm not doing it because I am trying to stave off age. I think that I'm pretty decent for my age, but I'm not competing with myself when I was 23 years old. When I was 23 years old, yes, I look more youthful. I look much better. Now, that's important because you have to accept yourself for who you are. But you also have to be the best version of yourself that you can be without killing yourself. And some of y'all think life is a sprint, but life is a marathon. If you go out there every day and you say, hey, look, I'm going to walk for an hour and I'm going to work out for 20 or 30 minutes, That's all you really need to do if you're doing it every day. But if you're not doing it every day and you let months and years and stuff get past you, that's when you're going to feel like you got to go into boot camp or overdrive for that. So in closing, what I'm closing about is there is a way for a woman, there's a pathway for a woman to raise her standards and her expectations, but not at the cost of losing it through sexual intercourse, pair bonding, losing that, and not because of your career's experiences. That's not going to affect your pair bonding, but it is going to make your expectations raise, and it's okay to raise them. But those two things make women delusional. And why does it make women delusional? One, the sex makes multiple sex partners make women delusional, because every time a man enters you, he gives you something and he takes something away. And so you got all of these different types of spirits inside of you. No wonder you're delusional. And no matter if you're trying to keep your sexual encounters private or public, people are going to be able to tell, no matter how good you look, because your delusion is going to shine. When you run across a delusional woman, it's because she's delusional because either her career, or she's delusional because of many sexual encounters, or a combination of both. But when at the end of the day, if a woman is, her standards and her expectations are coming from the covering of her father, or somebody in her life that's guiding her, whether it's if it's not a father, let's just say it's an uncle or it's a brother, if there's somebody there that helps guide her and filters her feelings through her logic, then she'll make these logical, sound choices. At the end of the day, the only thing that's going to fulfill a woman is what she was designed to be, and that is a wife and a mother. Now, being a wife is not for everybody, but certainly going out there and being a mother without being a wife is dangerous for you. It's more exposure for you. That's not rewarding. It's rewarding when you have a family, and it's going to mean more to you and more to you the older that you get. All right, so that's my time. Until next time, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this video if it meant something to you. If not, I appreciate you coming by. Make sure you leave a comment, and then also subscribe, because and click on the notification, so whenever I drop a video, that you'll be able to get it. I'll be talking about business, I'll be talking about relationships, and the things that I know about and things that I have personally experienced myself. All right, take care.